Hi, I'm John Kreutzer, and I'm retiring out of the United States Marine Corps and pursuing real estate as a second career. Now, up to this point, I've made a couple videos, some of them explaining why I personally chose real estate as my second career. I explained how to get your real estate license and specifically how I got my real estate license while on active duty stationed in Okinawa, Japan in about 8 weeks for under $600. I also reflected upon my time as a Marine Corps recruiter and explained how some of the skills and experiences that you're going to gain as a military recruiter are going to translate seamlessly into a real estate career. So whether you're retiring after 20 years or separating after your original contract, you're in a transition phase. And what I want to do is I want to share with you the means with which I was able to explore the real estate career field without having to come out of pocket or do any traveling, or just simply listening to podcasts and reading a book is really all it was. So I'll share with you these two podcasts and the book as well. So the first podcast is called Keeping It Real. It's a real estate podcast by real estate agents for real estate agents. The second podcast is called Bigger Pockets, and it focuses more on real estate and real estate investing, but it's a phenomenal resource. Absolutely love that one. And the third is Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. Now that name might ring a bell as he is the founder of Keller Williams Realty. So the first podcast I want to discuss is called Keeping It Real. It is a real estate podcast by real estate agents for real estate agents. The host, DJ Paris, interviews top 1% real estate agents from across the United States. There's a couple highlights in this podcast. He brings on some special guests on a monthly basis. One of them is Ryan DeApril. He's the owner of DeApril Properties, which is a coaching real estate firm. And I absolutely love it when this guy comes on because he talks about attitude, he talks about success. And one of the things, I'm going to quote him on this, is your network is your net worth. And I can absolutely see the wisdom in that from a real estate agent perspective. The second gentleman that is a recurring appearance on the podcast is a guy named Joel Schaub. Now, Joel Schaub is the VP of Lending at Guaranteed Rate. He comes on, he talks about the current interest rates, why rates go up, why they go down, what kind of loans are available, and how to talk to your clients about rates. Now, I've actually had the pleasure of working with Joel Schaub. He was the lender for the last house that I closed on. I had heard this man speak, and I thought the world of him, and I said, I got to see what world-class lending is like. So that summarizes the Keeping It Real podcast, and I'll drop the links in the comments below. So the second podcast that got me really excited about real estate is called Bigger Pockets. Now, it doesn't focus on your agent success stories as much as the Keeping It Real podcast does, but it talks about how to make money in real estate and real estate investing. So you've got two hosts, David Green, who is a former police officer, and David Turner, who is a former pro surfer. And these guys have, I got to quote, maybe billion dollar real estate portfolios. They're massively wealthy, and they put on a phenomenal podcast where they interview real estate investors. They get, how did you start out in this? And it's like, this guy started out with one property, one rental property, and then over the really not that long, maybe 5 or 6 years, now the guy's got 1,000 doors, and they explain how they went from starting out with nearly nothing to having a real estate empire. And they speak to entrepreneurship, they speak to the successes, some of the failures, they speak to the habits, the successful habits that have enabled them to get to where they are as real estate investors. Now, one of the quotes that I got to pull from this podcast, and I can't remember who said it, and it might be a recurring quotation, but you don't lack resources, you lack resourcefulness. And that probably came from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, now that I think about it. But they talk about real estate investing books, they talk about entrepreneurship. It's a phenomenal podcast. I will include that as well. I'm also I'm a member of the Pro Service. The Bigger Pockets podcast has a website, and for a small monthly fee, or even I think it's annual fee, it's not much, it's like $100. You have access to all these really cool calculators that will tell you, and more importantly, could tell a potential client is this property a deal? Are we getting a good deal based off of return on investment, based off the interest rate, based off potential monthly income, all that good stuff. It calculates, it runs the numbers, and it prints it off, or you could print it off in a really nice spreadsheet, something you could present to a client. So phenomenal resources, absolutely love that podcast. So the last thing I want to share with you is this book by Gary Keller, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Now, if Keller sounds familiar in the real estate lexicon, it's probably because he is the founder of Keller Williams Realty, which is wildly successful. So what I like about this book is it speaks to motivation, it speaks to goals, it speaks to how to properly set goals and then achieve them. It speaks to qualitative tools, numbers that will allow you to figure out, if I want to make $200,000 a year as a real estate agent, I have to then sell, I'm arbitrarily throwing numbers out there, I have to sell 30 houses. Well, to sell 30 houses, I have to have 30 listing presentations, 30 sales presentations. And in order to get those 60 presentations in totality, I have to make 30 contacts a month. So what this book does is it explains how to go through your daily tasks, how to organize your daily tasks methodically in order to get the results you want. So much like being on recruiting duty, where you're told you need to make 200 telephone calls a month, you need to have so many home visits a month, you need to have so many digital communications a month. All of that is included in this book, that you set your goals first and you backtrack and figure out what tasks does that translate to on a daily basis. What do I have to do on the daily to achieve my annual goal of X amount of money? So this book is highly recommended. It's I don't want to be a heretic, but I think some people call it a Bible in the real estate career field, but definitely check it out. I think they sell them on Amazon for like $10. Well worth the read if you're trying to get a better feel of what the real estate career field is all about. I want to thank you for watching my video. It is the fourth or fifth of many, as promised. If you have additional questions about other resources you can look into to further explore and determine if real estate is a career for you, feel free to hit me up. I've dropped my LinkedIn and Facebook into the comments. So I'm in true name, John Kreutzer, that's John, Kilo Romeo Echo Uniform Tango Zulu Echo Romeo. Please reach out, ask questions. I'd be happy to answer it. And as always, Semper Fidelis.